Right now, the day's biggest news stories from a Vegas perspective. This is the Vegas Take with Sharp and Shapiro.
All right, welcome back. Rolling out hour number 3. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. So glad you could join us. Just following some breaking news for you, some sad breaking news. We'll talk a little bit more about this at the bottom of the hour. Just hung out with this guy not that long ago. UFC legend Randy Couture has just suffered a massive heart attack. He is currently in intensive care. Thoughts and prayers with him and his family. And we will continue to monitor this situation. Again, UFC legend Randy Couture suffering a massive heart attack in intensive care. Just hung out with this guy literally like 6 or 7 months ago at a house party. Nicest guy in the world and a legend. So thoughts and prayers. We hope that he makes it through this okay, and we'll continue to monitor this situation. Speaking of legends, though, the guy we have with us on the line right now, he made the Raiders team in 1980, and that was the year that they won the Super Bowl. Also a member of the Canadian Football League from 1982 to 1985. He is a Raiders alumni. He is also done a great job in Las Vegas, calls Vegas his home, does so many great has so many great charitable foundations, and of course is involved with the Raiders Foundation and so many great things, including tonight, a charity poker tournament we're going to talk about. The great Leo Gray joining us right now on the line. Leo, thank you so much for joining us. How are you?
Hey, what's up, Leo?
I'm fine, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely.
First of all, let me commend you because the Raiders, people like yourself, you guys do so many great things here in Las Vegas for charity, and the Raiders aren't even here yet. They're not even here till next year. But I get these emails all the time about these great events, and you got a great event tonight. It's a charity poker tournament. My understanding, people like yourself, Raiders alumni, the Raiderettes will be there, some Raiders personalities will be there, and celebrities. Talk to us a little bit about this event tonight.
Yeah, we're so excited about it. It's the charity poker tournament, and it's going to benefit the Nevada Youth Football League, which is a program that's year-round. We have boys and girls, over 1,000 kids throughout the year, and they play football as well as cheerleading. So we're very excited about it. We'll have about 300 people that'll come together. They'll get out there, get on the tables, and do their thing.
I am amazed at how many of these great events you guys have had in Las Vegas over the course of the last year or two. It really is incredible. I guess I have to – my first question to you, though, is when you first heard that the Raiders were officially going to be moving to Las Vegas, where were you, and what was the first thing that entered your mind when you heard that?
I was actually at the gym working out, and a friend of mine had mentioned it to me, and I thought he was joking until I saw, ESPN later on, and they talked about it. And then, the excitement started. And even today, it's hard to believe. I drove by the stadium 2 days ago, and they're putting all the glass up now. And it's just unbelievable.
It's amazing.
The players and the staff and the executives and the city on the whole is just so excited about pro football coming to Las Vegas.
So, Leo, and I agree, we're all on board with it. Take me back to 1980 for a second. How do you think, as a young man in 1980, as a professional athlete playing in the NFL, trying to get your career going, how would you have handled Las Vegas if you had to visit Las Vegas on the road? How would you have handled that as a young man in 1980?
Good question, Brad.
You know that's supposed to be an off-the-record.
There's a lot going on here.
I'm on the safe side because I did my undergrad at UNLV. So I kind of experienced a lot of the things that I guess the guys will experience when an away team comes here and then when the team is actually here. So, I mean, it's one of those things when in football, the ultimate team game is so much you have to focus on. So you can't get sidetracked. And then, you could end up playing somewhere else if you don't do what you're supposed to. But it would have been tough knowing, you got gambling going on and everything else and all of these things happening at a fast pace. But, I got to believe, guys are a lot more professional now than they used to be. Mm-hmm. If you went back probably 30, 40 years, it kind of were guys like Matuzak and some of the classic ones we had, it would have been a little bit different.
So, Leo, you mentioned gambling for a second, and as you know, the NFL has been against gambling as a whole until fairly recently. I read a stat that like 7 out of 10 people that are watching an NFL game have some sort of betting action on the game, whether legal or illegal, and that shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. But back in 1980 and in the early 80s when you were an NFL player, Did you guys have any idea what the spread of a game was? Was that ever talked about at all?
Not at all. It was like a foreign language if you saw it on TV or something, but not at all. You know, again, everything was about the X's and O's and what you were going to do that week. And, you know, again, when you got people being cut and traded and all of those other things that go into professional sports, you know, you don't really think about that.
Fair enough.
And Leo, you're no stranger to charities and donations. In fact, last year you were able to raise $35,000 to give to a school in Henderson to pay for playground equipment, et cetera, et cetera. So this is something that you do on a consistent basis. Talk to me about the Leo Gray speed training and some of the athletes that you've trained.
Well, shoot, I've been teaching speed for over 20 years, and I've had some of the top athletes come out of Las Vegas. I mean, that's one thing that Al liked about me. I came in, I didn't have the stats and all those other things being a wide receiver at the time. They moved me to defensive back to third minicamp. But I could run, and I ran track for UNLV as well. So it was one of those things. And when I retired, I just took all of the things that I had learned from different coaches and put a speed program together. And I mainly have soccer players because they're the easiest athletes to teach. You know, since I've gotten older, I do a lot of things that are easier for me. It's kind of selfish, but I'm 62, not trying to be 22. But anyway, I teach, kids how to get connected with the different body parts and how to, actually turn over and push off on the right part of the foot and just generate speed and get to the top speed at the quickest level.
So, Leo,
I've had athletes from all the different schools, from Gorman, Palo Verde to Centennial, you name it. I've had in all sports. I mean, nobody's safe. I've had hockey players, swimmers, lacrosse players, football, of course, soccer, of course. So some of everything, but it's fun. It's a great opportunity for me to, work with the youth and get out there and burn some calories myself.
So, Leo, I want, since you are a Vegas native, I do want to get to the UNLV football program. I'll get to that in a second, but it fascinates me. There's not many people on the planet that can say they did what you did, right? You have a championship ring. You were a professional football player, had a nice career. So I have to ask you this. What do you remember best about 1980? You're working your ass off trying to get into the NFL. You get on this Raiders roster, and you just so happen to be playing on a team that wins the Super Bowl, and you get a championship ring. There's not many people on the planet that can say that at any level, at any professional sport. What do you remember back in those days most that you'll never forget for the rest of your life?
Even today, when I look at it, and I'll have it on the day at the poker tournament. It's hard to believe. I was a free agent coming in. Again, I didn't have a great senior year at UNLV. So it was one of those things. But the people, the leadership, Al Davis, the people in the front office, the coaches, Tom Flores, they just made you feel like you were a winner that year. I think we were picked to take last place, if I'm not mistaken, in our division. We ended up going in as a wild card team, and I think we went 11-5, and we got to the wild card game. We were favored to lose. We beat Houston Oilers, then we were favored to lose the next game against the Cleveland Browns. We won that one, and we were favored to lose the AFC Championship against San Diego, who won the division. We beat them, go to the Super Bowl. Philadelphia Eagles were favored to win. We knocked them off, but the whole time in the locker room and wherever you would go, the attitude was one where we could do this. We got this. I mean, we could go out here and we could win this whole thing. It's not about what took place yesterday. It's about what happens in between the lines on Sunday. And that's just how the confidence level came from the front office, from Al Davis on down. It was across the board. So you walked in just having this, attitude that we could win. Regardless of the circumstances, we could come back and we could win this thing. And so, it just was very exciting. It was like being at Disneyland. Most of the time, I would pinch myself all the time. Am I really here? Is this really happening? This can't be happening. And it happened at a pace so fast, you kind of don't get a chance to appreciate it until the off season. Then you're like, did that really happen? Did that just happen? So it was a very exciting time that, it's like yesterday. You go back, it's 50 years ago, almost 50 years ago.
Yep.
You go back and you think about it, and it was like it was yesterday.
Where do you do with your championship ring? I don't expect you to give us exactly where it is right now, but I mean, do you wear it a lot? Do you show it off? What do you do with it?
I'll tell you one thing that's not on eBay. But
What do you make of that, Leo? What do you make of some of these people that are struggling?
We have the different events. Like when we go out and we have the celebrity swing, we do the things with the salute to service is coming up for us with USO, a combine for the military out there at Nellis Air Force Base. And we always do the Play 60 stuff where we go and do drills with the kids. They have to do some type of workout for 60 minutes. That's year round. So we'll put it on then when we have different Raider events. But other than that, it's on the shelf and hidden away. And, sometimes I go back and forth, put it in the bank, but I know where it is at all times.
That's awesome. Well, we're glad you do, and we're glad you're not selling it on eBay. That's a good thing. If you're just joining us, we're joined by Leo Gray, member of the 1980 Raiders Super Bowl championship team. They got a great poker event tonight. We'll get back to that in a second. Leo, you call Vegas your home, so I have to, and you mentioned Bishop Gorman. We know Tony Sanchez has done a fantastic job at Bishop Gorman, but I think we all could agree his job is in jeopardy now. And the UNLV football program, this isn't just Tony Sanchez, right? This program has struggled for years, for decades, right? What do you make of where the UNLV program is at right now? What do you think about Tony Sanchez? And what do you think is, if you were the head coach, what are some of the changes that you would make to get this football program back on being competitive and making bowl games?
I think they're already making them. The fact, if you had an opportunity to go over there to the new sports complex that they opened up, if you look at that, I think it was $34 million that the Fertittas and some other corporations put in to that facility. It's state-of-the-art. You have all the mannequins with the different uniforms on. That's going to help with recruiting. If you talk to players that have went to University of Oregon, Alabama, Clemson, some of the top schools, if you look at their sports complex, their performance center that they have, you'll see the same exact thing that you're seeing that UNLV has now. So I think that's going to help with recruiting. To tell a kid that they're going to play in the same stadium that the Raiders play in, an NFL team, that's going to help with recruiting.
Right.
So I think if Tony could get through the rest of this year and get out there next year, I think the recruiting process will be totally different. Yeah.
Let's assume that Tony Sanchez doesn't get through the rest of next year, or he gets let go at the end of this year. Do you think that with all those things mentioned, the new stadium, the new facility, et cetera, the fact that you can practice football year round, and this is a very fertile area for recruiting, obviously, with Bishop Gorman, et cetera, do you think that UNLV could attract the interest of a big name coach?
I think so. I think so. I mean, it's just the fact of having the new stadium itself. I think the partnership and watching what has happened with the Golden Knights. I mean, pro sports is real here. And any coach coaching at the college or high school level, they look at what the best are doing. They're always watching that, and they know that helps. It filters down to the lowest level of that sport. So I think it'd be a win-win for that person. So I think they'll be able to attract the top coach to come out here.
So I have to ask you, Leo, your thoughts on that whole AB situation, because he was with the Raiders, then he goes to the Patriots, plays a game or two, and then he's gone. I thought the Raiders made the absolute correct decision in cutting ties with AB. If you had a chance to speak with him as a veteran, as a guy who has been there, who's won a Super Bowl, what advice would you give a guy like AB, and do you think he'll ever play in the NFL again?
I would talk to him about the fact of, the people you surround yourself with. Sometimes you want to listen to, I don't know how well he listened to the older guys that had played, which, could have told him, hey, you might want to do that a little bit different. You might not want to do it that way. A lot of the younger guys, unlike Derek Carr, Derek is always in the old veteran's ears, talking to him and getting information. I mean, that's why things work for him. I would have just told AB to just try to slow it down, back off of social media a little bit and just worry about playing, because the talent is there. Everybody knows that. He could play the game. But some of the other stuff that comes into play makes it a little tough. And, a lot of the people in your circle could throw you off. And, they might be your buddies you grew up with and all of that other stuff, but could kind of throw you off and take you on another page. And, you're sitting at home now. As far as him playing again, I don't know. I think if he goes in there and there's a different attitude or whatever, where it's more along the lines of the team, then I think he'll get another chance. You know, the NFL is a forgiving league. You see that a lot of times with a lot of these players. They're very forgiving. So I think he could get another chance, but he just has to meet them halfway. You can't, target people and talk about a lot of things that you really can't control.
No, I think that's really good advice. All right, so do you think that under the John Gruden tenure, within the next 7 or 8 years, when they come to Vegas next year, do you think he will deliver a Super Bowl?
I think so.
You do?
I think so.
Why do you say that?
I think they're going to shock. Yeah, the Raiders are going to shock the world. Yeah.
And Leo, I think that free agents are going to flock here every single year, and we're going to keep reloading with talent.
Mm-hmm. And when you look at the cost of living here and you compare it with – I'm from Los Angeles, California, and I came here out of high school in 75, but you could tell. It's just a different vibe. I mean, a lot of places are overpopulated. The state taxes, a lot that goes on. This Las Vegas area is just different. It's a lot of fun now. And again, with all of the new things that are happening, it's just so exciting. It's a great time for everybody that's living here and the ones that are thinking about moving here right now.
Yeah, no question. All right, so Leo, I want to give you an opportunity again to talk about this wonderful event, this poker tournament tonight. And by the way, I should note, the winner of this poker tournament tonight wins a 2020 seat to the World Series of Poker. I played in the World Series of Poker back in 2009. I won a seat because of one of these charity events. So this is a great and I made the money too, and I got on ESPN. So this is a great opportunity. Yeah, so this is a great opportunity for somebody to get into the World Series of Poker.
Subtle flex, Brian. Subtle flex.
So Leo, talk to me again. Where this event is tonight, what time it is. My understanding is you're booked for seats in this tournament. Correct me if I'm wrong, but people can still get out there and support the event. Give me a little bit more information for our listeners.
Get out there and support it. And it's at the Sterling Club on Paradise. I think it's 2747 Paradise
Correct.
Lane.
Right next to Turnberry Place.
The reception is at 5 p.m. Then the actual poker play will begin at 6:30 p.m. So again, it's going to be a great event. I think it's 300 participants, something like that. And you have some former players, some executives, some of everything. The Raiderettes, you mentioned that, will be there. So it'll be a lot of excitement for people. And not to mention, it's going to benefit, the Nevada Youth Football League, which we're talking over 1,000 kids, girls and boys, that are out there playing football and cheerleading.
Well, Leo, I'll say this. The community is lucky to have you. The Raiders are lucky to have you with all these events that you're doing, raising money for charity, helping so many young kids. And we certainly appreciate your time, and we look forward to having you on the show again, maybe later on down the road when you guys have another event that you need to promote. We will gladly do it for you.
Oh, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
You bet.
And we love everything that Vegas Take does.
Thank you, Leo.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Leo.
I appreciate that, Leo. Thank you so much, and have fun tonight. I hope you win the tournament.
Sure will.
All right.
Have a great day.
All right, take care. That's Leo Gray, Raiders alum, went to high school here, went to college here, and somehow found his way on the 1980 Raiders team that won a Super Bowl. How about that? That is unbelievable. Great guy.
Gets involved in a lot of charity events, does his own speed training to help out local athletes. Wholesome guy, great interview, really enjoyed it.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. And check it out again. Tonight, they're doing a poker tournament, as we mentioned earlier. The winner gets a seat in the 2020 World Series of Poker. How cool is that? All right, we'll take a quick break. Be back right after this. You're listening to the Vegas Take right here on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDAWN.